this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you a video today that is a project recipe that's a blast from the past, or a throwback, or however you want to call it. We're going to do a project recipe for a collection that came out in 2020. And this collection, unfortunately, I don't have anymore, but we're going to kind of change it up and use a brand new collection that just came out in January called Tropic to put this same project layout, project recipe together. And I'm changing up the punch and everything, even though I am going to show you the original punch that was designed to use, so that you can have that as a reference point if you have that punch in your stash somewhere. But we're going to use probably a punch that you would need from your stash also, but I'm going to show you some of the other punches that you could use so you know what type to choose from that will work with this layout. Okay, so before we get too far along, let's go ahead and take a look at what I've got on my desktop. Okay, so we have this project recipe that we're going to do today. This was originally designed for Little Dreamer, which was a really cute collection of papers that were good for boys or girls for baby pages back in 2020, a couple years ago. And it's a very cute layout, and for several reasons I really like it. It's unique. So we're going to do some special things today, and you're going to need to pay close attention because there's a certain sequence of steps for punching and trimming and punching again in order to achieve the effect that we're trying to get from this. So I'm using, like I said, the Tropic collection, and so I have an assortment of papers here. These two right here are going to be my base pages. You need a designer sheet and a tone-on-tone for the base. Then I have a cardstock. This is the Island, I think I wrote it down, but I'm not seeing it. Where is it? Oh, Tropical Wave. Tropical Wave is the color name of this, and it actually matches the turquoise in this print just perfectly. Then this is a tone-on-tone paper, I think. Nope, you know what? I take that back. It is tone-on-tone, but it is in the designer pack. And this yellow gold colored with the kind of flower print is in the tone-on-tone pack. So those are the 5 papers we're going to use to put this together. And I'm going to use the Rolling Waves Border Maker cartridge. If you have this from a couple years ago, this is the one I'm going to use because I have water pictures and things like that that are going to need a place to go with my Hawaii pictures. So that's what's going to go on these, although I don't have them out and ready to go on just yet. So we are also going to use the Custom Cutting System gem shapes, the heart shape from that group of special Custom Cutting System templates. That's what we're going to use to cut a portion of what we're doing today, along with the red blade that is used with that. So if you have those things, go ahead and get them out, or prepare another collection if you want to use something else. Whatever works best for you, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and just move a couple things around so we can get started. Okay, so we can just set that over there, and our adhesive over there too, because we won't need it right away. I'm going to grab my base pages and move them out of the way as well. Now, we're going to start with our cardstock, which is this one down here. We're going to do the most punching and cutting and various things with it, so it's going to get the most attention, the most wear and tear. And the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and cut a piece that is 4 inches. So we're going to go 4 inches and trim that off, 4 by 12. Then we're going to cut a 3.5 inch piece, So 3.5 inches. Okay. So that's the second piece. Now this last piece should be 4.5 inches, and it is perfect. We're gonna do some punching and cutting and all kinds of things to this piece. But first we're going to set it aside and take care of these other two large pieces. Okay, so go ahead and set your trimmer aside. Don't put it away, but just set it aside for a minute. We're going to take the 4-inch piece, not the 3.5, but the 4-inch piece. We're going to put that into our Border Maker system. And if you don't have the Border Maker system, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful system, and you get a nice variety of punches to enhance your pages with at a lower price point than buying individual punches. So depends on what your budget will allow. You can get some great individual punches too, but the Border Maker system is hard to beat, in my opinion. And if you're not sure how it works and can't decipher it from watching this particular video, there is another video on my channel that you're welcome to look up, and it will teach you how this system works. Okay, so we're going to punch both sides of this, and I want my wave to go the same direction. Okay, that's going to be a little bit weird, but I want my wave to all be flowing in the same way. So I need to turn this around so that my waves all go the same way. Okay, there we go. So we're just going to punch down the line for this one. One of the reasons I really like the Border Maker system, in addition to all the other reasons I already said, is because it's very easy to use. If you have problems with your hands or pain, pushing down on a wide thing like this with your palm is relatively painless, and so it makes it much more comfortable, much more easy to use. Okay, so we've got that piece done. This piece, the 3.5 inch wide piece, we are going to punch the short edges. Okay, so let me see here. We could line it up at the bottom, and we would get about 1.5 punches, or we could line it up in the middle. I think I'm going to line it up in the middle so that I get the slight going off on the edges. Come on. This guy doesn't want to cooperate and play nice. There we go. Okay. So then we're going to flip it over and make sure my wave's going in the right direction. Oops, I need my guide brought out. Just centering it between, there's grid lines you can see through on the guide right here, which enables you to put the paper just where you want it. And then I hold it with my right hand, pinch it between my fingers to keep it in place while I put the magnetized end down. Okay. Don't get rid of your punch. We have more punching to go. All right, so there's that piece. Okay, originally this design was meant to be used with the cloud punch. So if you have the clouds punch, then it was meant to be used so that you had a big billowy cloud and an end with cloudy, you know, billows on either end of that. And this is a really, really cool punch, and were I using it to do a page for a baby book, I certainly would go ahead and invite, it's not invite, sorry. I certainly would go ahead and use this and would not hesitate to use it. It's a really, really fun, really nice punch. Basically, the punches that you want to use, if you don't have the wave punch like I'm using or the cloud punch, you want something that's just going to put an edge on your paper. So something like the grass would be really a cute one, I think, to use on this layout, or this one that is called the scallop wave punch would be perfect to use. Just something that's going to not be a chain. A chain punch is one that completely separates from your paper, but you see here, this one just puts a design along the edge of the paper, which is what you're looking for. Okay, so hopefully that will help you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this larger piece, the 4.5-inch piece, and the first thing we're going to do is punch all the way down one of the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. And while you're watching me punch this, if you are not already a subscriber to my channel, would you mind just clicking that button? Click that subscribe button. That would really help me out. And if you haven't already done so, if you would go ahead and click the bell icon also to turn on notifications, and then that way, whenever I post a new video on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or I'm live, which I'm starting to do, that's kind of new for me, but I'm venturing into that, then you'll be notified and you can pop on and join me, or come find the video. All right, so that would be awesome if you would do that. I would really, really love that. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece that I've now punched one side of, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to punch the other side. So we're only going to use a portion of it, but I'm going to still just punch the whole thing because it's just easier. And because this is cardstock, it really doesn't matter which way we punch it, because we're going to be cutting this apart and separating it, and we can flip it whatever direction we want. We just couldn't do that with this piece. This piece is going to stay together, so that's why I wanted to make sure that it was going the direction that I wanted it to go. Same thing with the vertical sheet right here. All right, so let's see. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this in half. So we're going to put it on here, and the best way that I can describe how to cut it so that it is in half is just to line it up using your measuring bar up here. And if you're using this punch, you're going to put the very corner of the paper at 1.5 inches. You'll notice that on this side it's also at 1.5 inches, and that will keep your paper right in the center. All right, so we're going to cut that in half. Now set your trimmer off to the side one more time. Grab your border maker system, and we're going to go ahead and punch the flat edge that we just cut. But you'll notice, right, my edge doesn't go all the way to the magnet. Okay, so this is a cool trick that you've seen me use before. You just use a sticky note and put along the edge of whatever border you have. If you're trying to punch any piece of paper that doesn't quite reach the magnet, you just use a little sticky note, and then the magnet will hold on to the sticky note, and you can punch the paper. Of course, with a design that's got these large gaps between it, like this one, the sticky note actually sticks to your your holder so you can punch with confidence. So I'm going to go all the way down this side. Okay. Now I'm going to take these sticky notes carefully off my cut edge, and I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Okay. So here we go. And we're just going to punch one more time, and I promise that's all the punching we're going to be doing. It's a lot of punching with this particular design. All right. Okay, let me get rid of this, and then we will be ready to trim up some more pieces of paper. All right, so now we need our trimmer back out, but we are done with the border maker. So I'm going to stick that up there, grab my trimmer back over. Now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut this in half, which is a little bit of a trickier scenario, admittedly. The best thing I can suggest is that you just sort of eyeball it, or either that or you use the outer edge. So use the top portion of your punch, whichever punch you have chosen to use. Use that on the grid lines to line up your punch and keep it centered until you can close that bar down. Okay, I'm going to cut that in half. So we have those two pieces. We're going to cut this one in half as well. And mine is about an inch. My punch is about an inch from wave crest to wave crest. So if that helps you. Yours is probably similar. They're usually about the same. Okay, so those pieces are done. Now I'm going to grab my turquoise printed sheet, this one, with the kind of stars on it. And we're going to make some mats. So we're going to do a 4-inch piece. Then we're going to turn this and cut it at 6. And I have this tab that I added to mine out here, but if you don't have that tab, then you'll want to swing your arm out so you can cut that at 6 inches. Okay, then we're going to cut another piece at 4 by 12. So 4 inches. And that one's going to stay at 4 by 12. And then this one, which is going to be 4 inches left, we are going to cut a 4-inch square off the bottom, or the top, whichever. That's a mat, so we'll add that to our mats that are up there in front. And we're going to use this with our custom cutting system eventually. Right now, we're going to finish our trimming, or using our trimmer, by cutting a 6-inch piece of the golden flowers. All right, then that piece can be set aside for another project. Then we're going to turn this and we're going to cut 2 at 4 inches. So 1 and 2 And then this last piece is going to be a 4-inch square. And this piece is extra for another time. Okay? All right. Now we have all of our pieces, so we can start assembling. So let me rearrange things here just a tad. Oh, we don't have all of our pieces. I beg your pardon. We still need to cut 2 of our hearts. So this piece that was extra that I said we were going to use our custom cutting system with, we're going to use our red blade, and we're going to cut around the outer edge of this heart. All right. So just putting the feet right in that channel. It is a little bit different when you're cutting a shape rather than like a standard shape, like a circle or an oval. Those are fairly easy. This one takes just a little bit more time to be a little bit more careful. All right, so there's one heart, and we're going to cut a second one of those, and then we're also going to when we have our photos decided upon, we're going to use those photos and add and cut our photo to match the same shape. Oh dear. My bad. Let me scoot that back. Okay. Always is a little bit of a danger of doing that when you are a little off kilter. Okay, so we've got that and that. Here's our directions. I'm going to scoot that back out of the way for right now. And grab my base sheets. Excuse me. All right, so first of all, this long piece right here is going to involve these 2 pieces, and we're going to adhere this blue wave piece on top. So I'm going to grab my repositionable adhesive, the green one. I'm going to put just a little bit of repositionable adhesive on each one of these waves so it stays down. And then just a little bit along the edges of this. Then we're going to, I'm going to keep my waves all going the same direction as the ones that are going to go on the other page. So just be mindful of that. You need both sides should, your waves, if you are doing something like I'm doing, they need to go in the same direction. Okay, so then this piece right here is going to go on the edge of our right side of our page, which is going to be this one right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in place. We're not done with it, keep that in mind, but I am going to just put that right here in place. Okay, now one thing I neglected to do is we need to take our trimmer and make two more cuts? Yeah, three more cuts. Okay, so 2 of our long strips, these guys right here. Okay, so these we need to cut. I need one to be cut in half at 6 inches. So I'm just going to flip it over so I have a straight edge to put along my shoulder of my trimmer and keep it straight. I'm going to cut that off at 6 inches. The rest of this we can save to use another time. This is going to go on our layout. This piece I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are each 3.5 inches long. Okay, so 3.5. And I'm going to scoot this on here and do another one that's 3.5. Okay, the rest of this is extra to be used on another layout. All right, now we truly are done with our trimmer. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to layer these 2 pieces that we cut at 3.5 inches. We're going to layer on the top right here with our other paper that we have on here already. So you can play with this and maybe, I don't know if I would necessarily flip it over. It might be kind of confusing to do that. There's going to be just a tiny little, the tiniest little bit of shadow. And let me check and see if it says to when you adhere them together to put anything in between. It doesn't. Huh. Okay, well, I feel like we at least need to kind of bend them up just a tad so that they will be a little bit less sitting down a little bit less, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to add my adhesive along the bottom part so that I get a little bit of definition and it doesn't just get lost up here on the top. See how it needs just a little bit of kind of, I'm not creasing it, I'm not bending it enough to crease it, I'm just bending the paper enough that it's not flat. Okay? And then adding this on here. And I'm adding it, each one of them is about, I would say probably about quarter to a half inch lower than the other one. Excuse me, my goodness. So that there is kind of a separation in the waves. Okay, so that is going to be this side, and then we're going to add 2, let's see, does it say which ones? Yeah, okay. So the 2 large gold mats are going to go on this page, and the small square that matches the heart is going to go on this page, and then this heart will go up here kind of like this, and a photo that is cut like a heart will go in front of it. That's the way that works. Okay, these are for the other page, so let's jump over to the other page. Actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just adhere these on here so that I can move this without worrying about the papers being oh, you know what, these move up just a tad according to the layout here. We've got probably about an inch and maybe even a ½ inch. Here, let me put this one on first, because this one is going to go about 3/4 of an inch in on top of this piece. And then this square is going to go an even distance between this mat and the center of your paper. Like that. This one is going to go the same distance, so your margins are all similar. And that one's going to go just like so. Okay. So let me just change places with these real quick, and we'll work on this one. So turning it over so my leaves are facing towards me or down. Now this piece right here is going to go across the top, a little bit down from the top. See, like that. So we're going to add some repositionable adhesive. Again, I'm going to put it on each one of these waves because I don't want them to pop up. You don't have to do every single one if you don't want to. But I just know that that's going to work best. Flipping it up to the other side, maybe every other wave, and a little bit down each end. Okay, now we've got our waves going in the right direction. I'm putting this on about 1/4 of an inch from the top of my paper. Okay. Putting that down. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with this one that we did with the other. And one thing I wanted to double check. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so we just want to make sure that we're putting the adhesive on the correct edge, because we don't want it to interfere. And since if I was to glue this down just like this, it would be exactly the same as the wave that's already punched there. So I'm going to do a little bit of magic, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere the base on, bending up my waves just a little bit so they will not be right on top of the paper. Okay, and I'm going to adhere this just slightly off of the one above it. Okay, and since we're going to put another one on top, I am just going to trim this and not worry about adding the other one to the other side. Normally I would go ahead and add this piece onto this side so that it was a complete 12-inch strip. But because this piece is going to go on there also, I'm just not going to worry about that this time around. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bend these up just slightly, just like we did on the other page, just like we did on that last row. And these are going to go, this one's going to go down, I think, just like the original one. Might be nice to do that center one in a different color, so it shows up just a little bit better. Might think about doing that if I do this design again. But for now, there we go with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these, and this one is going to go there. That one's going to go there. This one's going to go down here, and the heart will go over here, just slightly off. Okay, so this design also uses a 12-inch sticker. So if you are using Tropic Time, you might want to consider using one of the 12-inch stickers. The only one I have left is this orange one, and I don't know if I really like that. So I think I might look and see if I can find a blue or a gold that I can use. The suns would have been perfect for this layout, but I used them on a different one, and I don't have another set of stickers. So give me a second, let me see what I've got in my stash. I think I found the perfect theme. Let's see. I have these, which are not the same blue, but they are close. And I could put that across there. This is from another collection, an older collection from summers gone by. And I really like that. I think that's very pretty. And I might just go ahead and put it down the side of this over here as well. So let's see here. This piece right here with these waves is going to go underneath this particular mat. So let me go ahead and put that on there so that we have that all situated, right? So and anywhere where the cool part about our repositionable adhesive is if you get your adhesive a little bit too high, you can just rub it right off, right? One of my favorite parts about that. Okay, so we've got that mat. And actually on the original design you can see that they have used the cloud punch and they've put it along the bottom, which is very, very cute, and I love that. But because I have waves, the waves actually look better going across the top. So that's why I've moved mine to the top of my mat. And let's see. So this is going to be roughly 3/4 of an inch in, and I'm going to make it I want to make it the same height as this, except that it should be the same height with the wave. So I'm making the top of the wave even with the top of the photo that'll go over there, and that'll work. Okay, this I'm going to go ahead and add some repositionable adhesive to. And we're going to go ahead and just set this on here, kind of across the seam, but not really, because this has a lot of movement in it, and so there's no way to really cover the seam. So I'm not trying to cover the seam, I'm just accenting it. All right. This one I'm going to line up with the edge of this photo, which is going to be about about the same distance that these two were. And actually, if I can line up the base of this photo with the base of this photo, that would be really nice. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And again, I'm just, if you haven't watched me before, let me just explain. I'm using repositionable adhesive with just a tiny bit on the back of these mats, because depending on the photos that I want to put on these pages, they may be vertical photos I want to put on. And so if I just have temporarily adhered my mats, I can pop them off, and even if they take a little bit of color from the paper underneath, or even if they, heaven forbid, tear the paper underneath, when I take it off, I can still, it'll be covered by the mat. The mat's just going to be turned a different direction. So I'm not really worried about that. All right, so this one is going to go kind of off to the side, keeping in mind a little bit of a distance, a margin, you know, around the edge before you get to the edge. All right, so that's done. Now I am going to go ahead and add this one because I think it will help add balance to the design. If we have this on both papers, both pages of our layout. So I guess it's good that I didn't adhere this down completely, because then I can just slide it underneath those mats that are there and add it. And I am really sorry that I don't remember the name of the collection this comes from, but if you are watching this video and you remember the collection that these beautiful laser borders went with, if you'd put it in the comments, that would be great. You'll be helping out your fellow video watchers, and I'm sure they would appreciate it, so they can go find it if they want to. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this Life with You as an Adventure, because my husband has taken me on some fun adventures, and even though I'm not really sure exactly what photos are going to go on this, you can bet it'll be something fun that we did on that vacation that will get on these pages. And 9 times out of 10, it's something that I wasn't super inclined. Although, you know what? As we get older, he's not as crazy about the things that he thinks he wants to do, which is nice. But I don't know, maybe I'll put my snorkeling pictures on here, because I went snorkeling for the first time on this trip. I'd never been before, and some of you who are avid snorkelers will say, oh, snorkeling's no big deal, it's super easy. But you know what? I have astigmatism. I wear these for a reason. I get up in the morning, they're the first thing that I grab and put on my face, and when I go to bed at night, they're the last thing that I take off my face. And I can't see. So imagine yourself in the ocean, swimming, trying to put your face in the water to note all the beauty around you, but you can't see anything. Everything is blurry. And not just because of the water, because the water there, if you've ever been there, the water is actually very clear, amazingly clear, actually. So when you put your face into it and you can't see more than a foot or two in front of you, it's very disconcerting, to say the least. All right, so let's see, what can we add to this guy to make it more fun, more fun in the sun. Maybe what we'll do is add these guys. So I added some pop-up foam squares to the words, but I'm not going to put them on the leaves that I'm adding behind. This I'm going to stick up here in this corner. And I'm going to be careful not to put it right on top of my mat because I might need to move my mat. Okay, so that works. And let's see, what else should we use? Another Day in Paradise, maybe? Another Day in Paradise. We'll stick some foam squares on this guy. Okay.
Mom, are you done?
I apologize if you can hear my kiddos upstairs. They are not aware that I'm recording down here. So we've got that one, we've got this one. Another Day in Paradise. And I think we'll add this in right here at the bottom. Oh, my Creative Memories order came. Thank you, Michael. My son is so good to me. He just brought that down here without my even having to ask. Love him. All right, so I think I need one other thing. What other thing should I put on here? Maybe the Good Life. Good Life. We'll add some leaves. Where can we put this? Maybe right here. So, how about these leaves? I'll just use these two kind of longish, they remind me of eucalyptus leaves. I'll turn them so they're kind of that doesn't work super well for right there, does it? Because then we've got, hold on, I'm just going to rearrange these just a little so that it's not hanging down. No, either way it's going to hang down. How about if we do like so? All right, I think that'll work better. Okay, and I'm going to use some pop-up dots, squares. They're not dots, they're squares, so. But pop-up dots, provided that they are archival quality and are not going to interfere with your paper, change the color or, you know, from the chemicals. If you can find some of those, use those. I honestly don't know if pop dots that you can get at a craft store are safe or not for your photos, so please don't quote me on that because I have no idea. Okay, so we're just going to put this right here in the middle just to balance it and give us our third embellishment, because really 3 works best for the eye. All right, I believe we're done with our adventures today. So this layout doesn't look a whole lot like the Little Dreamer, but it is the Little Dreamer layout. It's just using different papers. What do you think? I think I like it. I think it'll work really well in my tropical Hawaii book for some ocean pictures. I hope that you've enjoyed working through this with me today, and I hope that it has helped you see the versatility of our project recipes and how you can modify them to work no matter what you're doing. And I hope that you'll find many more creative moments in your life. Thanks for joining me. You have a great day.